Hey, welcome back! Happy New Year, Happy New Semester, and most excitingly, we have something to celebrate, and that is that I've just hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and it's time to celebrate with pie! Thank you so much to everyone who subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much to everyone who has made comments and appreciated all of my videos and all the work I put into this channel. I've really enjoyed being a teacher to not only my own students, but also to people all over the world. It's been a blast. Let's keep going. A new year is a turning point, and it's a time to celebrate, but also to look forward to our goals for the new year, and to look back at what we've accomplished in the past year. I always like to look back at the books that I read over the past year and talk about them a little bit on here. And I also like to look forward to my goals for reading and for YouTube and my classroom. Let's start with my resolutions. So I have a few resolutions for next year. First of all is a reading resolution. This past year I read 200 books. That's a really good number for me. I felt like it was a very comfortable number to read. In previous years I had always resolved to read more books for the next year. And in 2017, I finally hit 250, and it felt like I'd finally hit too many books. I mean, it was great reading 250 books, but there was also this sense that I pushed aside some other good things in order to read. And I also tended to avoid some really great books just because they were too long. It's really hard to read 250 books if most of your books are like 1,000 pages. And so last year I backed it down some and I read 200 books, which was still plenty of books. Next year I resolved to read 175 to 200 books and also do other good things with my time. I think that number is really my stride, and I've finally found it after all these years of trying. My second resolution is for YouTube. I resolve to finish some big literary series. I want to do at least 3 good book series. Last year I did several, and I did a pretty good job, but sometimes I get overwhelmed and can't finish something. It takes a lot longer to do video notes over a book than it does to do just a little one-off video, so I have to spend more time prepping and reading and thinking through my notes. Because of that, I have a few that are left undone, namely Don Quixote and Paradiso. I picked back up on my Paradiso notes, but I resolved to finish those, to finish my Don Quixote notes, and to do one more good work of literature this year. My third resolution is to spend more time writing letters to people. There's a lot of people in my family who would appreciate letters, I have lots of friends who would appreciate letters, and letter writing is something that I really love and always wish I could do more. So I'm going to try to dedicate myself to letter writing this year. And number 4 resolution, I hope to finish the manuscript of my 3rd novel, and so therefore finally finish that trilogy that I've been working on forever. Those are my personal goals for this year. What are your goals? I'd love to hear them. Put them in the comments below. Now, looking back at the books that I read this past year, there were a whole lot that I really, really loved. And there were a few absolute duds. It's hard to say a specific favorite because I read so many different genres. So here are a few books that really stood out to me this year. In nonfiction, one that absolutely fascinated me was The Storytelling Animal. It explores the whole issue of why human beings tell stories, not just in entertaining kind of ways, but why we rehearse other alternate versions of what could have happened in our minds, why we dream, why we play, all kinds of things like that. It is one of the most fascinating books I've read in a really long time, and I highly recommend it. In young adult novels, I read Three Dark Crowns and was blown away by it. It had such a great twist at the end that I should have seen coming, but didn't, and it caught me really good. I read lots and lots of poetry, but one new poet for me was R.T. Smith, and I really enjoyed his stuff because I stumbled upon it thanks to IB testing. His poem was the poem that my students were given in their IB testing, and they were so excited about it, and I was excited about it once I finally got to read it, and so I bought a book of his poetry, and he's just a really fantastic and delightful poet. In comic books, I started reading Squirrel Girl, and okay, Squirrel Girl is amazing. Really, everybody should read Squirrel Girl. It's the kind of stuff that makes you happy about life. The comic is incredibly intelligent and has all kinds of brilliant, clever jokes in it, but it's also incredibly optimistic and cheerful and full of enthusiasm and empathy. It makes you want to care more about everyone in the whole world. Good stuff. I also discovered Grace Lin, my son did. I made a video of a book talk with him over Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, which is a fantastic book, but I also read another half dozen books by Grace Lin, and I really, really love her as an author. I also finally started reading Stephen King. I don't know why it's taken me so long, but his books are really, really great. I can see why people enjoy them so much. He has a brilliant way of holding suspense, where he can be like describing someone brushing their teeth, the most mundane of actions, and yet you feel super tense about it. I also finally read A Series of Unfortunate Events. Such a fascinating examination of what it means to grow up and to move from childhood to adulthood. It's delightful and playful and clever, but also such a tribute to loving books and struggling with meaning in the world. And I read a ton more: theology, fantasy, sports biography, so many good books. I'm looking forward to the books I get to read for this year. Well, thanks again for joining me in this wonderful, fun ride that is Academic YouTube, and I hope that you have a wonderful new year and you get to read a lot of wonderful stuff and accomplish wonderful things. Now back to pie. Have a great day!